Hello, and good evening. My name is Black Cat and welcome to my stream. So today we're going to continue playing Spartan. Hopefully. Because last time I found out that Gates of Troy is actually more like an DLC or expansion to the Spartan, which that's why I changed a little bit of graphics, so it's a bit more like appropriate to this game that I'm playing. So yeah, there we go. So the last time I think I did the tutorial stuff, and then I did the first mission, or like the first silent or whatever it is. So yeah, today I'm going to continue on. But yeah, I also had a nice weekend. Myself, it was just like fine. It's sunshine and all that stuff. Finally, it's a proper. Is it a spring? It's more like almost a summer already. Oh, it's still spring. So yeah, new game. We're going to continue on with the. Last time is Lesbos? Yes, Lesbos. Okay, so do this today. Objective control densities. Okay. So you have chosen the duck. These cities are mine. It looks like it. So let's see, what do we have here? So this one can produce food, but food and bricks, so we're going to focus on food here. Food here, okay. Now I found out that this is actually quite important here. So this one has also for the brick only. Oh, it's already have a brick master. Okay, that's good. Shut up. Oh yeah, okay. I'm going to buy. Why is it from much with 100? We have enough bricks. We have another food here, but this one is also like just this. Okay. Most of them are having. Oh, this one have actually at least a gold and copper actually. Okay, copper. That is good. Copper deposit here. Okay, I need to also check what is my not diplomacy research. I'm going to focus on just full on those stuff. I don't believe, do we have any like can't build any of those armies, right? Yeah, no. I need then to focus a little bit on maybe like this. There you go. So densities. I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What are my diplomas? Let me check. Let's go send them to them. Do have some defensive stuff, okay? Oh wait, what? Otherwise let's just deposit. Okay, we are getting more deposits. It's starting to lag. Ah, crap. I thought I kind of fixed the problem, but I didn't. Rather annoying. By here, small village. Let's see what we can do here. Instead of gift of money, one with silver. Yeah. Don't want to give them any money. And where to go somewhere? No, flattery. Okay, let's try what we have here on the Dodge cabin. And let's go on copper. I don't want to attack them with such a weak army. Zero has a sound. Okay, yeah. This one is some. Okay. Go to buy military camp. Kind of space music. Small village. Get in, thank you. We are slowly building stuff. Okay. We do have now a that thing. Okay. Research. That, and let's go with this. Okay. I think this is only for resources, right? Yes. This one's still focusing on just this. Okay, let's go do a good master maker, not master. Oh, okay, there's nothing here. I need to check the diplomacy, what's going on. Let's send it here. The others. So still has we have here. smart. Now at least I have here, I can get with these boys and recruit them. Okay, diplomat is there. Diplomacy. Orders. Farm. Okay, I still have enough. I can survive that. Greek master. Okay, what is the other message? No. Okay, good. I guess we have a trading thingy there with them. Oh, right. Oh no, this is still them. Oh, okay. Gas silver is only now for like doing this stuff with the diplomats. Building, building, diplomacy. Okay, that's good. Diplomacy. Let's do just a. Let's do flattery. So they won't be too mad on us. So this is it, huh? We have a gold prospector here. Awesome. Thank you. Try this one. I'm going to buy another camp here. Okay. Too much here. Oh. Let's improve the relationship with them. I don't want back. Okay. Large villages. I guess the bigger you do, the more you can get like resources. I'm not sure. Okay, let's go. Ooh, we have new. Go to pacify the person of this constant version. Don't have any horses. That's the problem. I don't have any iron, that's the problem. Okay, I guess it can be bad. Go here. Ah, 500. I don't want to do that yet. So this one are actually completely like upgraded. Nice. Diplomacy was successful here. Don't need much of those military camps, so I'm going to do this. It's going to be like our main food production. Where we just need to grow the city. This put the worker there. This is fine. I still don't know much to do with this one here. To wait. This one not much because I need to wait for the research. Hey forever looking. How are you doing, man? So I didn't notice it. What is this game? This game is Spartan. It's a bit older game. It's more like a first game of a company called Slytherin, I think. And it's kinda like, you know, 4X game, something like that. It's kind of like Total War, but it's not. Hey, build better buildings. Promise that I have this game, it's kind of lagging, I don't know why, but it's old game. Just working in Windows XP, come on. Yes. That. This. How about this one? This is still the same, yeah. I don't know what to do. I need much more food so I can maintain my army. You have like a turns, you know. It's you make a move and you turn, and you make a move and you do stuff, you know. As always, like a connection with all those 4X games. Nice. Let's go with diplomacy. Orders. Farm. Orders. Farm. research. Should we continue on these other terms? Maybe gold? Okay. Jesus Christ, this screen is lagging. No, it's a Windows game, it's not like a DOS game, it's a Windows game. So I think it was in the era of Windows XP, yeah. Here. Here. I only played this one like I don't know how I played it. I didn't play it much. I mostly failed. This? Oh, it's lagging so much. I don't know why. That? Come on! Why you lag? This is not the upgrade, this is just a regular stuff. I go with the research. No. Yeah, it's yeah, you know, it's one of those games that you don't heard a lot about it. I have it on like on those CDs that they're having. I mean, on those magazines that you have like a demos. You know, that is where I actually saw it. You know. Diplomacy. This one is now better now. Okay, let's do this again. Farm. Orders. Farm. I mean, if you like the 4X, I mean, I don't know what to compare it, but you know, why not try it? Obviously, I don't have any freaking any iron, so I can make some iron, but yeah. This one. The weird is, I mean, music is kind of okay, I think. Just check it on YouTube, so you will see. It's a bit can be more than this, you know. Diplomacy. Okay, the research. This one. Research. Probably I need to buy horses and stuff with my resources, I think. It's amazing that I can build a special copper up to level 8, but like cannot do like a higher city level because there's a difference. How much you can upgrade your stuff. Oh Jesus, this is annoying. Here, there we go. Of course, I forgot to save. This is the save here. Oh, they weren't doing anything. Okay. Okay, that's not good. What was? Improve. Okay. More diplomacy. Hey, brick factories. I can make now new brick factories. Let's do this one since I can make a light and heavy infantry barracks, which is good. I'd give them a big gift. Okay. Oh no, I don't need this. I'm mostly just doing turns and turns and turns before I can like get those upgrades. Okay. check research. 3 turns, okay. Now, is this a new building or not? This one is up there, okay. Ooh. This one is up here. I need to be careful because, yeah, there's some like you can build a new one here, a new building for resources down here, and there you can build either ore, gold ore, prospector, which is a basic one, or golden ore gatherers, which is for the upgrade for the original. This one here. Obviously, this one. Shush. Jesus Christ! Just a second. Have some juice for my phone. Large brick must occupy this. Okay, more food, that's great. Large Mustang, yes. It's great. Can I make a bigger... Oh, this is capital, it's not university. Ah, okay. Maybe university would be awesome to be here. Maybe. I don't know what the... there is a lot of stuff that I still don't know. Just so you know. Also, yeah, look at this. This is like a heavy tree. You see, this is our tech levels. Look at these buildings, man. Jesus Christ. You have all the way down here. Look at this, just like... What? I can't research this stuff. I don't have wood resources here, that's kind of the problem. Metal armors. Creatures. Okay. Crash port. So what do we have now? We have this. This is okay. Let's still try to do stuff here. Don't want to either provoke them or whatever. Oh, here, okay. Oops. Okay. This one is an upgrade, yes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Didn't I build those geared? Not the geared. Oh yeah, it's not. It's still building itself. Okay. Nothing much here to build. So this is like a light. I already have it. I can go also for heavy, I think. Okay, nice. Come on, university. Go. Okay. Again, we're just turning wheels. Then we need to start to build some kind of army or something like that. Oh god, wanna be famous? Wanna be famous? What is their big follows? I need to remember that. Bigfollows.com. I need to remember that so I can like let it say forbidden phrase because it's annoying. Of course, don't click on those, you know, those links. Also, I am playing on easy, just so you know. Because I'm a noob and I don't know how to play and all that stuff. Ah, no, cancel, no, oops. Oh, Jesus Christ, the lag. This game. I'm going to wait here because I don't know what to choose actually. Research complete. Ah, okay, that is. Oh, okay. So this is for here because you have a limit here. How much you can sell or buy or whatever, you know. The stuff. Hey, Shikaka, thank you. Thank you very much. Hello. Gardening, huh? Alright then. They increase the numbers of political combined sound. What should I do? I have no clue what I'm doing. Let's see what I can get. Ooh, yes, boys. Oh, these guys cost. Cost copper. Okay. Has it gone in the car? Here's the thing. I have no clue how to manage my climate in my car. You know. And I found out that when I have on an auto. I don't know how to say. I don't speak English. When I have an auto and set it up on a degrees, then the actual, you know, AC turns on and cools it down. Otherwise, I was like blowing the hell out of it and just like, you know, okay, if these degrees. I mean, if we have only either it's just fan blowing or you have like a true AC on. It's kind of weird, but yeah. This now I know for sure, like I need to have it on automatic in just degrees. So yeah, but yeah, it was hot, especially when you're driving and have a black trousers and the sun's like directly on your trousers, like burning. It's like, it's so hot. Yes, but it's kind of weird. It doesn't work like that. It's so weird. Yeah, I need to actually turn it on to actually working. It's kind of weird. Just quirky. This Audi, it does have some kind of quirky stuff. It's like, what the hell? As I said, they have a good mechanical stuff, good physical, and they're craftsmen. But for like, yeah, German engineering is good. The engineering is good, but the user interface is kind of shit. They know the placing of the buttons, most of the stuff, but like, how that thing actually works, it's kind of like, yeah, it works, but it's kind of weird. I mean, to admit, I didn't got a user manual. User manuals are kind of hard to get. And like, I need to read it how to actually. I need to find the English version, and it's like, yeah. Anyway, it's kind of annoying. But yeah, it's hot. Today was so freaking hot. I was like, I'm dying here. I mean, I'm not dying as Loki is like dying. He's dying even more than we do. Especially he's got the humid stuff there. I don't know, what should I build this? I mean, what should I build here? Should I build gold? I think I need more copper for the army. So I'm going for that. Actually no, first I'm going to save. Feels bad, man. Yeah, I feel bad for you. I hate humidity, man, so much. Even though right now I have here like around 55-59% here in my place, so I need to turn the humidifier, because like when it goes to the 6, it's kind of meh. Let's do this. For glue forever. Actually, you probably could live in like in our places, like our climate, because we do have 4 seasons. You know, we have hot summers, cold winters. We do have something in between, always something like that. We have, except this year it was rather weird. It is still a weird, well, used to be weird spring, because it was like particularly cold for the spring. But I can. Okay, here I can. this also costs copper. Okay. Good. How much do I have for... Oh, right. Actually, I'll be better to do this. Yeah. Go on wood. Let's go. 1. Here, I don't have any available. Armies here. Oh yeah, copper. We have a lot of people here, but I mean available at least for less workers. Okay. Jesus Christ. What is it? Almost after back. But this is one of produced okay. Wait. I can do how can I buy? I can buy masters. Good. To research. 17, okay. Diplomacy. You know what? I'm going to save it and I'll try for the other order. What it's going to be. Let's go with 3. Yes. I'm going to just like load. It was not a great result, so. This one, okay. I'm getting quite some copper actually. Hey. How much money do I have? I do want to give them some. Only, I guess the gift money it's working for them. Oh, that's why it's like so much. I need to complain this on their forums because there are people having problem with this game. How much did he improve? ER 59. That is good. 6. What is the research here? 21 tons. That's gonna take a while. This is still cheap. Orders. Save it here. Let me try to do some army here. They're expensive. Let's merge these armies together. Oops. No, not do that. I think we're pirates here. Oof, look at this battle strength. Oh Jesus Christ, we're going to ruin them so bad. Okay, I want to show just you for a look how it is like. This is the pattern, this is like, you know, you can move your army however you want. And you know, you can delay them or formation change or whatever. So you can do that. So let's do this. Start. Oh no, it kind of works here. But you cannot control their armies. You cannot control the army right now. You can like toggle the speed or charge or rally or retreat, you know, or like, you know. So yeah, as I thought, it's similar to Total War. It's similar, but it's not like detailed as it is in a Total War. It's not like, it's more like a easy version, I think. At least I understand it right currently, kinda. Hey, my new city. What do you have here? Homestead, This is low thingy. You guys can go work here. Except if this wouldn't be freaking lagging so much. Can't make it better, sadly. It's just kind of annoying. I was trying to use like DigiVoodoo, but it was not like, nah. I think there's another one. I mean, probably I could try with wine, but you know, it's not that problem. Hey, better farms, Luis. Even though I don't need, but let's say, why not? I'm going to wait here for a bit because, you know, garrison and stuff, so I can like hear them. The troops can heal themselves. I'm going to go with a heavy here. Much I'm going to focus on this. Can you? Please game. Ah! Okay. Oh, yeah, bye. Just go. Why are they content here? I don't understand. I need my maximum proficiency. So I have now how many? 6 cities, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then probably 10 or something like that. They are jubilant. Let's go to save it here. I mean, probably I'm beating them like hell because I'm playing on easy, so yeah. This one have more strain. Where are the other armies? Can oh, they probably just have a better you're kind of... Oh no, you can go on back here. I thought that there is going to be like a huge lag in a battle, but I guess it's not. And so I like this, like, even though they're just sprites, they're not actually 3D, but you know. I love to watch battles, but I was never good in a Total War, so that is why I was not playing it that much. Actually, I was got good in a Rome Total War, the first Rome. Might play that in the future eventually, I don't know. I have so much games to play. And what? GG. Ooh, plenty of bits here. Going to make a couple of turns. Select the army. Well, one unit is a bit better. Auto resolve. Resolve A. Oh, it's command, okay. And one more. One more reach to conquer. Let's go like this. And there we go. Yay! Scenario completed. Yeah, 5 victories. Nice. New game. And we have a bigger maps here. Must include man. So I need to go on this. Where's the Korean? Corinthians Olymp. Oh, probably it's just like cities, okay. Sorry, just like. Ah, yeah, do I actually have here? So I need to. These guys here, and this one here. Okay. this was actually a training mission. Okay, we are not great with it. Marble deposit. Great. What do we have here else? So we have a copper 2 here. Okay. What do we have copper? Storage here. Encampment, of course. To expand. This one have only bricks, not even food. Interesting. Maybe even I need to upgrade the settlement. So yeah. Oh, it's also not here. Ah, okay. So let's go with the Bronze Age or Iron Age. I think it's mostly Bronze Age, this. You know when the Romans were... I think the Romans have the iron or not. I think it's like a between copper and iron, because you do have an iron of a resource, so... Here I can get a iron and bricks, so that's good. Sure. Okay, yeah. Research. I'm not going to do like this, so focus on food first. Diplomacy, let's see. Send them, okay. Send them. And we're going to send this one there. There. There we go. Start diplomacy. Orders. I don't want to do that yet. Also, don't want to do that yet. Tolerate. I didn't do that, what? Hey, okay. We did build some stuff. Bronze one. Yeah, for me too. It's kind of awesome. I mean, like Romans and Greeks, Sparta. You know, those are Egypt, the old stuff. Yeah, also for me it's the same. Feudal Japan, also that is awesome. I think there is a Total War, one of the Total Wars. I forgot. There is about that. Let's do a small village here. No, pipe! Pipe! Oh, I can get them. Nice. And them too. Luis. I mean, I've watched a lot of phone and like Discover. Discover is not a good channel anymore. Viasat History we have here. That is actually good, but they can repair themselves. Yeah, it's like, no. I do recommend the channel on YouTube, which is Mega Projects. If you want to well check, I mean, it's not. It's about everything. It's just about huge projects that failed or succeeded. And he's saying it's also side projects, so you can check that out if you want to check, like, if you're like interested in documentaries overall, you know. And he has like a shorter videos, like from 10 to 15 or even 20 minutes, so you can actually binge watch him, his channel. He also have like a lot of others, but yeah, I recommend him. He is quite a sarcastic person. Sarcastic host. Even though I was like watching him, is he a Vsauce or what is that dude other called? Historical one. Original new colonies. Shades from the regions resulted in a quick boost in forestry. Innovation is also as man, I don't know how long I'll be able to play this game because it's super annoying. How much marble do I have? Okay. Come on, game, work! Come on! Which one has a marble? Work, you son of a bitch! Ah, but there we go. Okay. What should I do with them? This is a lot of money. I don't want to provoke him. Here goes. Large village there. We have now here large village there. So I forgot to save it here. Sparta is looking very nice. Very nice. I was born 1988, so it was like 3 years before it collapsed. So I was kind of born in Yugoslavia, then I became Slovenia. So yeah, we became independent in 1991, I think. Am I correct? But yay! I don't know if I even had a Yugoslav passport because I was still a baby. I mean, baby. 3-year-old kid, you know. Parents were talking to me because they were actually running to the forest, running from the bombardment that could easily happen. I think I will go for the wood here. Father, thank you. Do we have a brick? Copper. We go with the copper here. Okay, let me check. Okay, this is fine. Research. Still 8 turns. Still the first level for food. Then I think we'll go for like bricks. Marble. I need marble a lot. Copper too. I need the copper too. Also need the food. Need a lot of food here. Smart. This one down there. Small town, yes. What's your enemies? It mostly Greece, I think. As it is, I think this is a Greece. Middle East, I think this is like a Middle East here. Yeah, this is Middle East, I think. It's actually kind of it's kind of depends. Sometimes you play Spartan, sometimes you play pirate, or like it's very different scenarios, you know. I mean, I can show you really fast. I'm just going to put it here, save. So we have like a grid here. You can actually see like before Christ when this is happening. Here we have, I think this is like Turkey. This is, I think this is like a Macedonia and what are the other countries here? Because this is the Turkish, like that. This is absolutely Greece. This is just all of the stuff here. This is, yeah, yet again. That's about it here. This must be hard. Like you need to control difficulty moderate. You have ethnic groups as Spartan Greek, okay. Spartan Greek. Tribal, Eastern, Spartan Greek. Here, okay. So I actually Spartan Greek here. Sea people? Not really, because then you don't have a sea battles here. You're just like a ships with your troops. I don't know. It's kind of lame-ish, I would say that. I think I will need a farm here. come on. Thank you. We have another bricks here, so I can only be a brick camp here. Or university, actually, let's do a university here. No, I guess I don't have a lot of bricks there. I need to save it for the farm. No farm here, we have bricks and that, okay. This is really weird. Oh yeah. Just like, you know, there's a lot of Roman and Greek gods, but none others like for the Slavic nation. Nothing. Nothing for them, you know. Shit. Uh-oh. Can actually make this suck.
Me tienen dormir. Εντάξει. Αμέσως.
Yeah, beat them. And then this is it for the you know, sea stuff. Research complete. Okay, good. That is good. I think I will need to do more of that.
Αμέσως.
Where is my food production? Which does it? This is so lame. Research and fire over. This one has it, but I still need to wait like 7 months now. Right. And kind of crap it out here. Not great. You mean see people as a Nordic people, like, you know, Scandinavia and all that stuff? Because I mean they were supposed to be raiding, but they were not raiding that much. They were like going to the north of the America and all that stuff, I think. I mean, that is what I saw in the documentary. Oh, okay. Sparta. Sparta, listen to this. Bye. Thank you. I wonder how much you can heal this place. I never build a large town. Huh. Probably I can train a bit. Just in case, you know. Come on. Okay. Thank you. I'm like, I'm just like raging. People are happy. Oh, you have to see me now. Super out of the cycle pronunciation. Oh, I didn't know about that much. I mean, I don't know about my sea people. It really depends what they are. Yeah, that's actually cool. Yes. Wait, what the hell? Huh. Okay, fine. Let me, if I can anger them, I want to like get this. How going to do with the town yet? I don't have much food. I will now wait a bit before I start up getting other stuff. Actually, I think it's way much faster if I go here. Diplomats. Not diplomat, diplomacy. Arachnes. Okay, we're going to send you a diplomat. Oh, there's already orders. Still not much there. There's no point to go there. What? I didn't do that, did I do that? Accidentally? Damn it! Leave this like... Going to load. Okay, now they don't have any orders. Okay.
Με την εντολή. Εντάξει. Θα γίνει. Εντάξει. Αμέσως.
You can move so much on the land. I mean, not on the land, on the sea.
Με την εντολή. Αμέσως. Στις κοιτάιες σας. Θα γίνει. Εντάξει.
They're going to wreck me. Answer us. See, okay. Have a nice sleep. And yeah, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And have fun. See you next time. Let's just see. Probably going to wreck me. Ooh, no, they have a much better army there. Charge! Yep. They have much bigger. That is way too far. Oh, that was okay. Okay. So how is with my research? Oh, they actually hit him. Okay, others recall. There, have some money.
Στις κοιτάιες σας. Αμέσως.
So, listen, how many? Marble 150? Tempting. Just mixing. Okay, I think I can do like a university here, maybe military camp. Yeah, why not? Research. What's going with the research? Nope. Iron. Okay, iron prospect. Come on. What's going on here with the others? Check much. And the iron here. another weakness. Maybe I can do a university here. Tanker. Come on, put the person there. Thank you. Holy crap. Go with the military camp, just wait for it and upgrade to large village. Jesus Christ, the decision that I don't know what to make. I mean, still playing on easy, but you know, if you don't have experience, it's kind of hard to do it. Don't have some probably smart idea to put a brick maker here. Man, I wish to play this game more, goddamn, but this lagging, it's not really appealing. Maybe I should try to get the VM machine and, you know, try to do that to maybe, like, make it working somehow. First hit is good. Yeah, tank. Military tank, not tank, yes. Camp! There you go. Such. Okay. Nice. Imagine, like you have like this small village, and then you have a huge university out of marble, like beside it. It's kind of weird. I don't have enough of... a marble, okay. Such. Over that. Let's go for the brick. Oh, bought it. Come on, buy. Buy. Thank you. Oh, come on. This is done. Let's go like this. Oh no, let's make the arm. And a large town. This is dope. And a small city. Jesus Christ. How much is it? It's 700 gold. The gold too now. I think I don't have any here. Small. Can you click it on it? Oh, it's armor. Come on, can you? Thank you. Here, since I have a iron as a resource, I can read this. The armor build is an epic project that upgrades the armor of all of your infantry unit, making them more resilient to enemy melee attacks. Each empire may control one of these. Yes. Only 500 iron, which is... if you don't need any... marble stuff, it's great. Arch, Master. More gathers. Yeah. I think it's more. Bye, thank you. Oh, come on. Yeah, today I need to check if I can get a VM machine and try, you know. Try to do this stuff. This is going to be more like an ore stuff here. Select the army. Oh, rip, one died. One unit died. No problem. Why do we have for research? Oh, okay. Still, I'm kind of trouble with the freaking food stuff. It's mine. I'm gonna actually like this. Okay, now that we have more people available. Okay, that's good. Good. Oops.
Me tienen doler. Εντάξει.
This much. Oh, yeah, it's that. Nope. I don't think I'm not going to do anything here. The question is, should I go like for full-on iron, which is probably a good idea. Don't have the copper. That's kind of yeah. There's some of those. There's mostly copper, but not iron. I'm going to this one. Research. Interns. Probably I need more food than that. Where do I have the university? I mean library, not university. Here, right? Yes. Archery herbalist. Yeah, why not? It's actually cheap. It's the rating of this one. I don't know what to do with this one. This one is actually basically done. Alright, I do have a copper. I'm a freaking idiot. Get back! Go back! Yeah, let's go. More stuff. Okay. On these it's like it's more like a non-active, they're not attacking you yet and you're just slowly easy developing, which I am fine with that. Perfectly fine, because I don't want to be frustrated with this game. I hate frustrations. Even though I played Dark Souls, but yeah, let's leave that there. Still need for the research. Not the most. 12 turns, okay. Yes, better farms, awesome. Finally can beat now better farms. Research. Damn, you just upgrade that university and you have like so much more of these research points. So what I would be perfectly done, it was get 2 armies and you just go this. Okay. I wonder if they're attacking them. It's kind of strong. I will need to make some armies soon, very soon. Go. Yeah, thinking to destroy this, and I'm not sure this is the only wood thingy here. But yeah, I'm going to finish that for today. I wish this game would be running more smoothly. I will try today to like set up a VM and try something. I don't know. That is all I can do. I need to try. Probably be doing what's that open source VM. Yeah, you know, we'll try, but I can't promise anything. But yeah. As always, thank you for everyone for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks to Forever Loki and Shikaka, you're awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Forever Loki too, and others who joined. Really appreciate it. No problem, man. No problem. So yeah, the next news is going to be on Wednesday, as always. We're trying to play more of this game, and hopefully that I will make a VM with an XP machine, and try to install the game there and try something. I tried here, it's just lagging, the forums are not really helpful. The people are having some troubles with this game, so yeah, that's about it. So yeah, on Wednesday, see you, yeah, what I want to try to say. On Wednesday, so yeah, have a nice time with that.